Guess what I have here today? This is what our story is about. You know what these are? You were thinking checkers. You got it. I'm going to push these aside. We're going to come back to those checkers in a bit. But for right now, we're going to start with this story called The Giant Who Played Checkers. Thumbs up if you've ever played checkers before. Ooh, you are going to come in handy today then. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who loved to play checkers. He would go over to his friend's house to play checkers all day long. Every day that he did, he got better and better at it. Until one day, the little boy got lost on his way home and it started to rain. The little boy looked and looked for shelter until he found a cave. Little did the little boy know the cave was home to a mean old giant named George. The little boy sat down with the checkerboard at the opening of the cave, trying to dry off. Maybe this was yesterday. Until a loud stomping was heard, and out came the giant named George. "Who comes into my cave?" the giant yelled. He was a true giant, tall as a tree and wide as a house. "I did, sir," said the little boy. My name is Tim," he said. The giant scratched his head as he swung his mighty club onto his shoulder. "Why you come here? All other little people want to hurt George. You want to hurt George too?" The giant suddenly became angry, getting his club ready to swing. No, nothing like that, George," exclaimed Tim. "I would like to play a game of checkers." Tim smiled, holding up his checkerboard for the giant to see. Checkers? George the giant asked. "What is checkers?" "It's a game we little people play," Tim said, and he found a rock to put his checkerboard on. Spilling a bag of little wooden pieces onto the board, he put them where they needed to go. George the giant sat down in front of the board, staring with confusion. "How play checkers?" he asked. "Like this," said Tim, as he moved one of his pieces. "Now you move a piece." Do you notice how those checkers are set up? They are only on the black squares. Look at all those red squares are all empty. George the giant tried to move a piece with his big giant hand. When he saw that he had moved the piece, he laughed a loud laugh and clapped happily. "Ha ha ha ha! I like this checkers," he yelled. They played and played. Tim taught the giant how to play well past the rain stopping outside. "Oh, I'm dearly sorry, my good friend George," said Tim, "but I must be going. Mother must be very worried about me now." The boy packed up his things and gave a wave to the giant as he walked out of the cave. The giant waved back. For once he had found something that made him happy. Over the next weeks, the boy would return to the giant's cave, teaching him how to get better at checkers. I notice this says checkers. One checker plus another checker equals king me, right? If you play checkers, you might know what happens when you are able to put your two checkers together. We'll talk about that later. Week after week, month after month, the giant noticed that the little boy had been getting bigger and had been coming less often, until it seemed like he never came at all. The giant got sad, missing his best friend. He tried playing checkers with the mice who lived in his cave, but they never played right. But one day, two little people came to the giant's cave, one taller than the other one. The giant knew who this tall little one was. It was Tim, all grown up into a big little one. "Hi, George," said Tim. "This is my son, Jim." "Hi, Jim." "Hi, Tim," the giant said, smiling, as he was happy to see Tim again. "Does Jim like checkers?" And so they played and played, laughing, cheering, and having a great time together. For weeks and months to come, the little boy would play with George the giant until he too brought a little boy to play with him. Oh, wow. This story just keeps going on and on. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about checkers. So if you have played before, you may or may not recognize that we have a whole stack of these. And you might say, Mrs. Messer, that does not look like a checkerboard. And that is because this one and most of ours will fold, right? So you have to, if you get one, you're going to open it up. And again, a checkerboard is a square shape, and it is most of them are with red and black squares. And you're going to notice these ones have the numbers on them. So when you set up a checkerboard, each side gets 12 checkers. There will be a side that has red checkers, and there will be a side that has black checkers. So once you have put out your 12 checkers, then your side of the board is set up. Now, like I told you, you should never see a checker on a red square. If that's the case, somebody needs to move it off. When you play checkers, your goal is to try to get all of the other person's checkers. And how do you do that? Okay, so first of all, I have a little picture here that shows you something very important about moving checkers. Checkers only move, to begin with, in one direction, and that is you have to go forward and you have to go to another black square, and that would be called going a diagonal. I can't go from here to here. I have to stay just going to another black square that is right next. Okay, now you can also do something though. If I have a checker, I can do something called jumping it. So if I want to, I can move this checker over here, right? Now, this person here, they can do the same thing. So they can jump this one, right? Now, I'm going to move this checker right here. Here's the big move in how you get your other player's checkers. This person now can jump over this their opponent, we're going to use that word's checker, to this square. When you jump over an opponent's checker, if you can, you have to do it. If you can jump your opponent, you have to jump. So this red player has to jump, but that means they get to take this their checker when they do it, okay? But now this one can jump, so they must jump. And now the black opponent gets to take one of the red ones. Okay. You don't have to jump your own. If you might have noticed, this one I could jump, but that is you don't have to jump your own. But if you can jump the other player, you must jump the other player. Okay. We're going to start with this today. Now, if I jump over my own, I don't take my own piece. Okay. So now I'm going to move this. I'm going to play both sides right now. And I'm going to move this one up. And I'm going to move this one here. So I'm going to jump my piece right here. And I'm going to jump this piece over here. And I'm going to move this guy over here because I'm trying to show you what it means to get crowned. Okay, so I'm going to move this one right here. And if you're paying attention, this move, I could jump and take this piece, so I have to do it. Okay? But now, this guy has two ways to jump. It could jump this one and go here, or it could jump this one and go here. I'm going to say this red one is going to jump here. Okay, now we're going to get to my big move. My big move, nope, I thought I was going to make a move, but I can make another jump right here. So that one's going to go here. Now this guy can jump here. So it's going to go here. And now I think I can make my big move. Yes, I can. Okay, I'm able to move this to my opponent's back row. Once I do that, I can be crowned. If you have one that's been crowned or kinged, you can say it either way. Now this can move in a special way. All of these checkers could only, I told you, these ones could only move forward this way. These ones could only move forward this way. But once you're able to get one of your piece crowned, I can move this piece forward, but I can also move it back. Now that's going to be a big advantage. Okay. Like I said, your goal is to try to get as many of your players' pieces as you can and to get your pieces crowned. Okay, and again, this can only move onto the black squares. All right, I am going to have you guys each play with partners against the other people on the other table. So I'm going to try to have people that know how to play spread themselves out to help the kids that this might be their first time. All right, have fun.